Don't you worry your pretty little heads about anything. That wee joke in the title is the only one I'm going to be making this video. But, with that out of the way, Splatoon 2 version 4.2.0 is out as of the time I'm recording this, so it should be out for a decently long time by the time you're seeing it. And we got a few very interesting changes, so without further ado, let's get into it. First off, we've got changes to Amiibo. The new Octoling set, Boy, Girl, and Octopus, are now fully supported, so you can get the 9 pieces of gear from those. Those have been data mined for a long time, and you could just look up a list of all the gear in the game if you want to see their abilities. The only one I know off the top of my head is that the creepy-ass mascot head has come back, so it's unfortunate that the scary one has the good ability. Anyway, other changes to gear. When another player in Inkopolis Square is wearing gear that was previously obtainable through game news, you can now order that from merch, and that gear will also sometimes be in the Splatnet gear shop. So this gear is the SWC logo tee, the Kyonchi hat, Lil Devil Horns, hockey mask, and anglerfish mask. So this is basically just limited time gear, but not region locked gear. So there's a bunch of Japan only stuff, but we still can't get, which is really unfortunate. Especially like the Emperor gear, which I think is something from the manga that they put in the game, and you gotta be Japanese to get that one, which is sad. But all 4 of these, so the Halloween gear and the Splatoon World Championship gear from E3, are now available to anyone if you order it or if it's sold in the Splatnet shop, which makes sense because that's just timed exclusivity. Now, it's turning something that was basically play the game at this point in time to get this thing, and it's now basically, it was a timed exclusivity where now people who weren't able to play at that time can get it, and I guess now if you're in Japan you can have a complete gear set, but rip the rest of us. Changes to multiplayer, the big one as always. The Reef got a few changes. It says, made major changes to the terrain near the spawn points, and made changes to the overall terrain. This is basically making the Reef look more like Urchin Underpass, if you want to think about it that way. That's really it. You're going to have to find out the changes for them yourself, because I don't have the new map up in front of me right now, and I don't have the game up in front of me right now, and I don't have the old... Basically, I don't have enough information to tell you exactly what changed, but hopefully this is a change for the better. And let's do this. Main weapon changes. Are you ready? Because I am. Sploosh and Neo Sploosh. Reduce the interval between firing and when you're able to become a squid or use your sub by 4 frames. That basically, I don't really know what a good way to say it, but it lets you do things faster, basically. Like, you can react faster to things, which I guess is a good thing, so that makes sense because Sploosh is kind of poopy, but it might have needed a bit of a better buff to be good. Splattershot and Custom Splattershot Jr. Reduce the... I guess that counts for the Kensa Splattershot Jr. when it comes out. Reduce the interval between firing and up. Okay, it got the same buff, so basically a lot of short-range weapons are getting that buff, which makes sense because they need to react to fast happenings more so than long-range weapons. So giving them basically something that gives them a faster reaction time does make sense. So Splash and Neo Splash got the same buff, but only 3 frames instead of 4. Aerospray, MG, and RG got 4 frames. All versions of Splattershot got 2 frames. All versions of 52 got 2 frames. All versions of 52 got 3 frames. NZAP got 3 frames. Oh, I guess all shooters got this buff. This is an all-around shooter buff. I didn't even notice that, which is even cooler. So, all Splattershot Pros got 2 frames, all 96s got 2 frames, all Jet Squelchers got 2 frames, then Squeezer and Foil Squeezer got 3 frames. L3 did not get this buff because it's a different type of shooter, but it made it easier to ink the ground at the player's feet, so you can swim away from your own shots easier. Increased damage to Brella shields by 13%, and increased damage to Rainmaker Barrier by 5%, so it's basically got something similar to an object shredder built into it, I guess. That's one way you can think about it. Carbon Roller horizontal swings now ink more in front of the player, so again, easier to ink your feet, always a good thing. Ink Brush extended the area inked by flinging ink with ink brushes further forward, basically extended paint range, not damage range. Octo Brush reduced the interval between swinging the brush and holding ZR to ink by 4/60ths of a second, so you can get into run mode a lot faster, which is good. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, it's a 60 FPS game, so 4/60ths just means 4 frames. I usually say frames, but usually say fractions of a second. in these videos, I'm going to move on. I'm going to basically say frames in the future, going forwards. Tri-Slosher and Tri-Slosher Nouveau change the weapon type to lightweight, in which running speed when not firing and swim speed is fast, as with the Sploosh-O-Matic and Splattershot Jr. It does not look like it got the thick tank, as I call it, that goes with the Junior, but it basically got a weight decrease because it's a lightweight weapon, so now you can move around a lot faster with it, which is cool. Sloshing machines increase radius of area inked by ink droplets by 10%, so it paints better, and it paints walls better. Then we got 3 sub-weapon changes. Toxic Mist added an effect that greatly increases the ink consumed for an opponent using dualies and performing a dodge roll. So basically, in Toxic Mist, you constantly lose ink. But now it also has an additional effect to dualies, where dodge rolling takes up significantly more ink than usual. Presumably it was because you could do that to get out of the mist easier, so they want to make dualies completely affected by it. Point Sensor increased initial speed by 10% and extended flight length. So I guess that means you can throw it further and it moves faster, which I guess is good. Squid Beacon. Each Squid Beacon can now be used twice when used by an ally who doesn't have a Squid Beacon equipped. That's ridiculous. Beacons are even better now. I don't even know why, but it's great. Please use beacon weapons, and please use beacons responsibly. Just do it. Like, seriously. Beacons are good. I'm serious. Then, the point requirements for specials have been changed, as always happens. Custom Junior, 180 to 170. L3, 180 to 170. Flingza and Foil Flingza, 190 to 180, as with Zinc Mini. Tentasorella, 180 to 170. H3D, 190 to 200. Splat Charger Hero Replica, 200 to 210. Splatterscope, 200 to 210. Tentabrella, 180 to 190. So, people were saying Chargers needed a nerf. All that happened was the Chargers that have Stingray got a nerf, which is probably the safest and sanest thing to do, because Chargers don't really need that big of a nerf. We got a bunch of bug fixes, which, honestly, I'm going to skip general bug fixes now, but I'll be going over other changes and specific bug fixes, like Splatfest got 3 bug fixes. First off, fixed an issue occurring in normal Splatfest battles, causing some players to be ejected from the lobby during matching when one battle ended. The schedule was updated, and a solo battle normal was immediately selected, even if teammates from the previous battle had been grouped together again. So that's just a weird player sorting bug. So that's okay. Fixed an issue in normal Splatfest battles, making it difficult to recruit teammates when a team has won many battles in a row. So basically, if your team had won a lot of battles in a row, and one person left, so you had to get a new one, it was more difficult the higher streak you had, which might be because there's a specific counter of the streak, so there might have been some mistake in the coding there where that made it harder for more people to join, so they fixed that. And then fixed an issue when playing normal Splatfest battles with friends and creating a room that made the recruit more players button unavailable when no friends have joined. So that's just another bug that comes with recruiting people. Salmon Run got a big change, because we got a new stage, The Ruins of Arc Polaris, now available when playing Salmon Run at the Shoal. The stage will also be in the Salmon Run rotation when playing Salmon Run online. I believe tomorrow is the first time it's going to be in rotation, so hey, that's pretty cool. And then a bunch of bug fixes, but also co-workers in a life preserver can now be hit with direct shots from the inkjet, and now also be rescued when on a metal grating. So previously you couldn't save someone if they were on metal because I think it defaults them to squid form or something, and that screwed something up. And now you can hit them with inkjet directs. Previously, you would have to get them in the splash damage of an inkjet, which sucked. But now you can get them with a direct, which is good. So inkjet's better in Salmon Run, basically. And then other changes. Fixed an issue in which the camera wouldn't change as expected when spectating splat zones with auto camera. Fixed an issue in which a player being shown in spectator mode who is defeated by an enemy using a scope's charger would occasionally not be displayed correctly. Reduced severity of an issue in which Octoling's girl hair would clip through her hand while in certain poses with certain gear while taking photos of her as an amiibo. Interestingly, I guess they found these bugs with them while they were playtesting, and they didn't have them in like the original version of the patch, and so they had to change that. Like, I guess, because data for the Octoling amiibos has been in the game for a long time, so they've probably been playtesting it just throughout, and they might have even taken this from data miners, but there are a few issues with the way the amiibos for the Octolings were shown in photo mode, so they fixed a bunch of those. Also, a Fizzy Bomb got a bug fix, and fixed an issue when playing as a user linked to a Nintendo account that is not an NSO member. Information related to joining NSO would be displayed and the player would be treated as offline when the schedule update occurred. Interesting. That doesn't make sense. That like, should happen. Shouldn't it? Like, if you're not an NSO member, you should be told about NSO membership being a thing. Because, like, you need it to play online. I don't know. That's weird. It feels like there was a quote-unquote... Maybe people got annoyed by it, and they changed it because of that. Like, it happened every time, so I'm not sure. But that's actually not all, because Kensa Collection 3 has also been released. Or, has it been released yet? I'm stupid. Collection 3... I think it hasn't come out yet, but it will be soon. I need to look this up. I'm very stupid. Okay, so they'll be released tomorrow, not today. So they're coming tomorrow, but we got some interesting weapons. Kensa L3 comes with the Splash Ball and the new Ultra Stamp special. Kensa Octo Brush comes with the Suction Bomb and Ultra Stamp. Kensa Jr. comes with the new Torpedo Sub and Bubble Blower, and Kensa Undercover Umbrella comes with the Torpedo and the Ink Armor. So, I actually like all these kits. I'm probably not going to use many of them. Like, maybe I'll use Octo Brush for fun, and maybe I'll use the L3 because I like Wall. But none of those are really main weapons that I've used much in the past, so I kind of don't care too much about them. But I can now talk about the Ultra Stamp and the Torpedo. This is cool. Like, Ultra Stamp is probably going to be broken for a little while, but I don't know. It looks cool, at least. Because, like, it's basically another melee special. It's sort of like a nerfed version of Kraken, if you think about it. But it's also better, sort of. So you can't really... I guess you can jump with it, but, you're invulnerable from the front because the actual hammer will protect you, and you can ink stuff in your path and kill enemies by coming into contact with them, but you're vulnerable from the back. You do seem to be far faster than the Kraken, though, so who knows? And, like, also, you could press the R button to throw them out as a projectile, which you can definitely not do as a Kraken. So, it feels like it's kind of a lateral move. And because it's a Splatoon 1 style special in Splatoon 2, it might be a little broken for the time being, so I don't know. As for the Torpedo, it's a brand new type of bomb, which if you throw it near an enemy, it will sort of home in on them in the air and explode on impact. But unlike Seekers, and this is something that I always thought Seekers should have as a drawback, you can actually shoot them out of the air, which is cool. I like this change because, you know, it actually makes sense. I feel like that should have been a thing for all homing weapons. Like, auto bombs make sense because they have the jump with a bunch of startup lag, so you could see and avoid that easily. But Seekers, you kind of didn't have that, and these, you don't have that, so you can actually shoot them out of the air, which is cool. I don't think we have enough information besides data mines on what it does when it doesn't target someone, but who knows. We'll find that out tomorrow. And yep, that's all I got about this patch. I don't know how much it's going to revitalize the competitive scene, but I agree with every change made this time, so it's all good in my book. And if you remember what I said last video, there will not be a Xenoblade video this weekend. It will be the start of a new review slash just talking about stuff series. That will be a review of Castlevania Requiem, and then we'll get back into Xenoblade with Monado Mondays next Monday. So, until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.